Good morning, Big Brother fans. It is Thursday, eviction day, day 38 in the Big Brother house. And it's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be a unanimous vote tonight. I talked to you guys kind of late last night. Those of you that haven't listened yet, you might go back and listen to it, or you might just skip it and trust that you didn't miss anything spectacular, which frankly you didn't. I did watch last night's episode, and the hide and go veto. So, tiny catch up, because I know for a fact there are a few of you who only listen to me talk about Big Brother. You don't even watch the episodes. Go figure. So hide and go veto is the one where they get little POV medallions. In this case, they were pretty decent sized rectangular. They were supposed to be like microchips, but obviously supersized microchips. The kind that you stick in your phone or your other devices, SD cards. And they had to hide them in the house. Now, when I say big, they were probably, 11 inches by 11 inches or maybe 1 foot by 1 foot, size, like the size of a floor tile. And thicker than that, too. So they were not small little things. And they had to hide them in the house. Now, they said 2.5 minutes. But based on what they talked about afterwards, they could suggest places and the production would say, no, you can't hide it there. No, you can't hide it there. No, you can't hide it there. So there were places that they weren't allowed to hide it. So they had limited options. And of all those limited options, Tucker found the one that they were okay with, it seems, which was on the supports of the drawers in one of the dressers. So, the drawers, the nightstand, not the nightstand, but the dresser sometimes has wooden supports going across between the drawers. And I think he managed to slide it up under one of those so that the only way to get it out was to pull the drawer open and the lower drawer open and reach up and get it. It was a tough spot to find, and the house guests seemed mostly concerned with just opening the drawers to see if anything was in them. Now, I wonder if the drawer that it was under pulled open completely, but in their rush to find things, they may not have spent the time feeling it out. I think he got kind of lucky that they weren't necessarily trying it, and it was the drawers not in a bedroom, but on the way to a bedroom. Right? So they seem to spend a lot of time in the bedrooms. They all seem to just congregate back in the bedrooms. I don't know where I would have hidden it. We don't know how long the searching went on for the last two when it came down to Joseph's and Tucker's medallions were the last two that it came down to. And Joseph's was in a bag, and he actually left it out in a public spot, and everybody missed it until Cam found it at the end. So we saw Tucker win the power veto. We saw Tucker use the power veto. We saw Tucker do his massive alliance reveal that he had talked about doing. Again, as I said beforehand, this is stuff that would have leaked out over the course of the weekend as a regular head of household got that information, but Tucker saved it all up for one big reveal to some astonished house guests. He's very good at doing that. Very good at making a story and making it dramatic. So it's great for TV, man. The people love it. The other thing they showed this whole charcuterie board thing where some of Angela's leftover food that she had when she had a household, some of the other house guests ate it, and it was the edit was to show that Brooklyn was the one leading the charge. Brooklyn was very much enjoyed being the evil villain this week in the diary room, and Big Brother used that footage to paint her as the evil villain. I don't think that's going to win her any favors with fans. It's not that it matters, because she's probably going home, but they let her relish her victory, and then they painted it in such a way, because she tore up the house too in the have-nots. Or not the have-nots, in the hide-and-go-seek veto. She was really the only one that was destroying things and pulling things out and throwing things around. everybody else was very concerned about upsetting people. It wasn't a high-stakes POV, understand, right? Almost everybody felt pretty safe except Brooklyn. So, and the people that weren't safe weren't like, oh my gosh, I have to keep Brooklyn from getting it. So there wasn't a big motivation to find anything or destroy anything. It just was a low-stakes POV competition. And so that's one of the reasons it wasn't a very destructive hide-and-go seek or hide-and-go veto competition. So what went on after the afternoon? When I left you off, I knew that the house guests were playing Jump Scare, which I don't know, it didn't start this way, but it ended this way where as each house guest was called in the diary room for something or other, the other house guests most of them were all in the head of household room, and one of them would go out into the house and wait for the person to come out of the diary room and then try to scare them. And that's what they did for a bit of time, much to the annoyance of people that were probably hoping for game talk. And then they did some other stuff as well. The biggest alliance talk that I saw happen last night, or vote talk, campaign talk, whatever you want to call it, was mostly Chemo and Takor talking, because remember, they are aligned with Tucker now, as well as Angela and Rubina and Joseph. So they're the tanks with everybody but Joseph, and then with Joseph they're called the tanks. The 5-person alliance is the one, then when you throw in Joseph, that becomes 6th Avenue. And Tucker wants either Brooklyn or Chelsea gone. That's what Tucker wants. But some of the House would prefer to keep Chelsea over Cam. They're okay with voting Brooklyn out, but they would prefer to keep Chelsea over Cam. And Tucker doesn't want that, because as I've said now multiple days, Tucker sees Chelsea as a much more of a threat. Also read it as Tucker knows that he can't control Chelsea like he can potentially control Cam, or that Cam is much less interested in playing the game, it seems. So that's who he wants to keep, is Cam. But Takor does not want to get rid of Chelsea. She has a problem. She didn't want Chelsea to go up, remember? She was pushing for MJ to go up instead of Chelsea, and Tucker went and put up Chelsea. I don't remember, but I'm sure he implied that Chelsea would be safe. Oh no, we'll get rid of Brooklyn. We're not getting it. But there's the chance here that Brooklyn goes. Now, watch tonight, Brooklyn will lose, and so won't win the AI, and then it'll be a moot point. But this is only if Brooklyn wins the AI competition. Then they're going to have a dilemma, and Takor really wants to keep Chelsea. And they're going to have a meeting today, I believe, with at least the tanks, if not 6th Avenue, where they talk about this. They're trying to figure out, and I say they, Chemo and Takor were trying last night to navigate how to talk to Tucker about this, because they don't want to upset him. They want to figure out how to get him to agree, and they just don't think it's going to work. Or he's going to agree, but then instruct other people that he really doesn't want to, but he just told Takor he'd go along with it, because he doesn't have a vote, right? So we'll just have to see. We'll see what we see today on the feeds, how much of it we see. They're supposed to try to have a meeting this morning. On a side note, Rubina, under the guise of going up to talk about this with Tucker late last night, actually didn't spend much time talking and spent a lot of time doing other things, to the point where the feed's cut, and I did retweet that this morning. So I was interested in how much they showed. It was a very passionate embrace, and they eventually cut the feeds. But I remember the very first time something happened in the head of household room that we were aware of back in Big Brother 4 days. And I had a video of that was posted on YouTube, and it had like millions of views. And honestly, it was literally a overhead shot of a comforter because you couldn't, the couple was completely under the comforter. You could not see anything. You could just see the comforter moving about. And that eventually got taken down by YouTube. And they got no further in their romantic, relationships than Tucker and Rubina seemed to get last night before the cameras were cut in both cases. And yet this video is going to be all over Twitter and wherever else. I don't know about YouTube. Maybe YouTube would take it down. I'm not sure. It's you just see Tucker's back, and Rubina's underneath them, and they are kissing passionately. So yeah. Anyways, is what it is. I do still have that video of David and Amanda from way back then. I wonder what would happen with it now. I don't feel like testing the waters. But so that happened. And that also ties into Leah. And I talked about Leah and Joseph last night, that Angela and Tucker had a talk, and they talked about bringing, Tucker suggested bringing Joseph in for a 3-person alliance, but then also they talked about adding either Mackenzie or Leah, or Mackenzie and Joseph, or Leah, or Joseph with either Mackenzie or Leah, or maybe Leah and Mackenzie. The end result being that they were talking about bringing Joseph and Leah in as a 4-person alliance. So basically cutting out Chemo and Takor in this particular alliance, and Angela was all for it. And Angela talked to Joseph and said, I talked you all up. I talked about this again last night, but I'm just rehashing it again because this could come into play today. And other things happened after this what I just talked about happened. So that all was in the works, and the mix as a potential alliance happening. And then Leah spotted Tucker and Rubina, and this is earlier yesterday, holding hands under the covers in one of the rooms. And she was telling Joseph that she saw it, and she was like, I saw I saw Tucker and Rubina holding hands under the covers. And Joseph's like, wow, that's news. Like, whoa, because, Tucker has told everybody adamantly that they're just friends. They're like brother and sister. And Leah made a point to say, not that it matters. Because it's Leah going like, I don't like her. And Leah, of course, as we know, is crushing hard on Tucker. So you can imagine it was a bit of a slap in the face to Leah, like, oh, he does like her more than he says he does. If she will believe that, she may be in denial and talk herself out of that possibility. And later on, she had a talk with Tucker. I don't know if she mentioned the hand holding, but I did see him hugging her tightly in the storage room, I think it was, or the head of household room, like giving her a hug. I don't think it was anything romantic, but in Leah's world, it probably was like, oh, yes, I get to hug Tucker. So that may calm those fears a little bit and steady that thing, because one thing you can do is get someone mad about a relationship, even if they aren't in it for real and they feel like they could be. They could turn on whoever that person is. So I could see Leah turning on Rubina. But for now, I think that's not going to matter. But I could also see that Leah might want to vote the way Tucker wants her to vote tonight, which would be to vote out Cam if it came down to Cam. Think about that. Because there was a time where Leah and Cam were like, flirty, and now Tucker may say, I want you to vote out the person that you were flirting with. But understand that Leah would pick Tucker over Cam if she was given the option, in my opinion. And so I could see her being willingly voting out Cam to please Tucker. That's why this vote is hard to call tonight. Because if Leah decided that Tucker's just been playing with her and got mad at her, she might vote out Cam because Tucker doesn't want Cam to go. I just don't know. It really is hard to say right now, which is great. It's great to not be sure what's going on with with the vote. All right. Sorry. At an intersection. Had to let someone walk. And we are on our way again. I'm getting close to work. So, we've got this whole thing going on this morning, in theory, at some point. And when I say this morning, I mean sometime before, probably before 1 or 2 Eastern time, maybe. I'm just not 100% sure because of when they get them up. They've got to have time to do a little bit of stuff before they all get locked down and they had a household room where you have all of them and they can't talk. We've got 9 votes tonight, which means no chance of a tie, but it also means you could have a fairly evenly split House. I'm just not sure. I was looking at the names and trying to figure out where they sit, and I have to tell you, there's some dynamics that I don't know very well that could mean it may be glaringly obvious that which one would go between Cam and Chelsea, and I'm just missing it. Or, as I said, I just don't know where some of these people fall. I mean, if I look at the list, and this is the problem where I'm going to expose some of my lack of knowledge right now on some of these relationships. Angela, I would assume, would vote out Brooklyn. She's still very mad at Brooklyn about other things, let alone the charcuterie. Joseph, I would think he'd want to keep Tucker happy if he wants to work on this final 2. So I would think he would vote out vote out Chelsea, but I'm not sure. Leah, I think, would potentially do Tucker's bidding, but she might not. She might vote out Cam. Chemo would stick with Takor, and Takor wants to keep Chelsea. Quinn, same thing. How upset does he want to make Tucker? If he just like, you know what, I got to keep Chelsea's better for my game, he might vote out Cam. And Rabina actually would prefer to keep Chelsea over Cam, but Bow Chicka Wow Wow, she might want to keep Tucker happy too, right? So yeah, and Mackenzie, I don't know. Mackenzie thinks she's in a bit of an alliance with Tucker, so she may want to keep Tucker happy. I don't know. There was another comment that I retweeted this morning that Chemo apparently has observed that a lot of the women are not wearing a lot of makeup now and are curling and letting their hair go curly. Specifically, it reminded me of MJ had done this. And I guess at some point, Tucker has said that's what he likes in girls. Like, he likes girls that don't wear a lot of makeup and have curly hair. And Chemo's theory seems to be that all the women are now doing that to kind of please Tucker. I don't know. That's getting a bit deep, but that's the great psychology of the game, right? That's the whole thing of like this whole great is it sociology experiment? I mean, just the whole experiment of these people in a house that are playing a game and they're trying to please each other and what kind of things you do. There's the Munchausen syndrome. Just all of that angle of this is really interesting, and I don't know. I hadn't noticed it until Chemo said it, but I did notice that MJ had started doing it. That she started curling her hair and or let her hair go curly, whether she's actually curling it or whether it's naturally curly. Either way, her hair is definitely a lot curlier now, and she's the whole makeup thing. Anyways, it's been a good week, guys. It's Tucker. It's still crazy. It's still I don't want Tucker to maintain power. I really don't want Tucker to steamroll, but at least he's entertaining, right? It's not boring. We can say that. We'll see what happens tonight. We'll see what kind of a head of household. We'll see if they're going to jury or not. We'll see if it's going to be a 9 or 7 person jury, because after tonight, we got 9 people voting, right? Is it 9? Well, yeah, I said 9 people voting. Yeah, I don't. We'll see. Because we'll see if we have a jury, because we'll be down to 9 people voting, but we have 2 people instead of 3. So yes, after this, if it's a 9 person jury, after the person's evicted tonight, we either have a jury or they're doing a 7 person jury, which is very possible. We're not sure. So we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what happens. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to tell you guys. I can't think of anything. I will talk to you again later today with before the show. Let you know what I think's going to happen. And yeah, that's it for now. Sorry, I am once again navigating traffic. This is the time where my brain shuts down a little bit while I drive, which is a good thing. All right, we're now safely pulled into the parking garage, and I will go to hopefully find a spot and sign off and wish you a happy Thursday morning. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. I hope you all have a wonderful Thursday, and I hope I have a wonderful Thursday too. And we'll talk to you later on today. See you guys. Bye-bye.